What up, y'all? Welcome to MF Homeschool. I'm Mink, and today we're going to be talking about my honest opinion of method homeschool. We did it for 1 year, so I figured I would give my opinion about it. But before we get into it, of course, I'm about to ask you guys, please subscribe to my joint so you can get all of my notifications and all that good stuff. Hit bells and do all the stuff. Throw some salt over your shoulder. Whatever it is you got to do to be subscribed, do it. So, all right, look. Method school, it's a homeschool program. I'm sure that's why you're probably looking at this to find out what how it is and what my child's experience was. My child did fifth grade there. It was his first full year on a homeschool program. This was after COVID had happened and they started letting kids back into school. We decided to stick with the homeschooling. So he did fifth grade. The process for getting in there, like the sign up, super duper easy. It's not anything hard, right? So you get in there first day. It's like the parents on Zoom with all the other kids and everything. And the teacher, she's just kind of explaining exactly, we had a female teacher. Her name was Miss Romay. And she was a really, really good teacher. And so she would just explain kind of how the program goes, teach you guys how to go through the software to be able to actually use it. Some of it is going to be confusing, like most softwares are when you first get it. But you can't think of it like, oh, I'll never get it. Man, they did this so hard. No, it's just new to you. It's just like PlayStation to Xbox controller. It's just new, So it's the same thing, but you'll totally get it. So it's pretty easy after you understand how the system works. And then you have your classes. They had math, math. I think like language arts, science, and social studies. Those were the four main subjects that they paid attention to, right? And so what happens is you meet with your homeroom teacher once a day for 1 hour. And you can be anywhere when you do this. Because we travel and stuff, so he's done this from hotel balconies, from the pool. Like he gets to get, I think he's done it from the pool, but he gets to like just hang out and go wherever and do this 1 hour of homeschooling, right? When he does the homeschooling, all the other kids are on the call. So they do like breakout rooms where she'll put certain like amount of kids, like, okay, 4 kids in this, 4 kids over here, and have them work on projects together as well. So they're still getting like a social aspect. And speaking of the social real quick, the school also sets up social meetings. Like you have a hub where you can go and they'll teach like fitness classes. So you can actually come into their hub in your local area and get involved with some of their activities. But I mean, they did a thing where we did a beach cleanup. We went to the zoo. We went to SeaWorld, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember all of them, but there was like they set up stuff for you to do. We went up to like the mountains and like went back for like panning for gold, and they had all kind of like gold bricks inside of a river for the kids to pan for, and then you would trade it in for money, and then at the end there was an auction for stuff. So it was a really cool thing from that standpoint of view. Like they did try to also make sure they focus on getting the social aspect in for the kid. So anyway, you have your homeroom, and then you also have a one-on-one. The child has a one-on-one with the teacher once a week for an hour. And that seemed to really work really cool. Like I say, he had a really awesome teacher, Miss Romay in California. And she just was like very, I don't know how to describe it. The first word that comes to mind is patient. But she also knew how to get to his level. Like, so she would see what he's into. Okay, you like anime, you like Demon Slayer. Okay, cool. Let me know some things about this or ask some questions about these things. Okay, you like to play Roblox. So she would know how to give metaphors toward what he liked for what she was trying to convey to him. So I just felt she did a really, really awesome job, and she saw him for who he was. Even at the end of the school year, we were like, oh man, we got to do like some kind of graduation from elementary for him at the house. So we did something that we had all these people send in videos to congratulate him for graduating. His teacher, she just sent one of the most beautiful messages. We were like, I'm not crying, you cry. Like it was just, she was an awesome teacher, man. So Miss Romay, if you see this, awesomeness. So anyway, so that's what happens. They'll do the one-on-one. If he has any problems with things, she'll help him out with that, things of that sort. Speaking of problems, they also have like class time where if you need help with a subject, they can go online at this time and just talk to one of the teachers, and the teacher will walk them through to let them understand whatever the problem is. So it was sometimes as a parent, I was like, I don't get it. I got nothing. So you gonna have to just go to the class. So he'd be at the class and I'd be walking in the back trying to listen like, oh, that's what okay, I was supposed to carry the, okay. So it's one of those. But it's cool. So they give you that access to be able to get help if you need it. So it's not just on the parent where you're like, man, I barely got through school. Like, no, they give you some help. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. Also, the teacher, she communicates a lot with the parent. At least my teacher, his teacher did. She communicated with my wife and I big time. You're CC'd on all the emails, so it's almost like a group chat. She does like a overview follow up of how the one-on-one meeting went with my son. And so she would say, okay, Prince is doing really good with this. We're trying to work on this right here. So then now I know what I should be working on with them at home and things of that sort. So I felt it was really cool from that standpoint of view. As far as attendance is concerned, as long as you submit some work every day, just submit one assignment each day to check in. That means that you were there, because the homeroom doesn't count as you being present or not. It's you turning in some type of work. It doesn't have to be 10 pages. It could just be one assignment. So this is the thing. This is where it worked out for our lifestyle. What I would do with my kid is I'd be like, all right, dude, today, because you got 5 days of work. So today what we going to do is we going to just smash all the math. And we just going to smash all the science tomorrow. We're going to smash all the history this day. And we're going to smash all the language arts this day. Right? So if we wanted, we could get all of the work done. We would get our work done and then just already have it done, and you don't have to submit it. You can just save it, and then we would submit it each day. But we could be finished. Like sometimes we would do 2 subjects a day and just be finished. Like, man, or our main thing is, I would say, let's smash math, right? You got an assignment or I would say a schedule. That's what the word I'm looking for. You would have a schedule for math each day. It would tell you do chapter 1, 2, 3, and a quiz. Let's just give that as an example. You have that each day. We would do Monday through Friday. But sometimes you really on a roll and things are clicking, so it's not taking long. So I'm like, cool, let's do next week's as well, and the week after that. So we would have 2 or 3 weeks worth of math finished, but not turned in. So we would have it to turn in on those extra days. I hope that makes sense. And so that's where you have a lot of power to kind of let this be in your lifestyle. We go and travel and go on vacations a lot. So we'll just be like, all right, next week, no work. So this week we got to cram. So we would cram in that week. And then the next week, all he would have to do is like meet for homeroom, meet for his one-on-one, and we was out, and so it was nothing hard to do, so I really like it from that standpoint of view. And then also the school, they have different tiles that the children can attend online. So it would be things of, I know on one time they were getting the kids together to play a game called Among Us. And so that was something that he really enjoyed. So he's sitting on Zoom with all these other kids. I know he and my wife did yoga that they offered online. So that was something that was really cool. It was even one that was like the history of video games, of gaming. And the dude went from the beginning all the way up to like present, and was showing all kind of statistics of different things. They have different science project Zooms, and they'll be like, bring these materials. So it was a really cool program. The reason I took my child out of it, for one, we moved from California to Nevada, and they don't serve Nevada. So that was one thing. But we were going to take them out, and I was going to start to create the curriculum myself. And the reason for it is, the program is good for education and things of that sort. But if you have certain things you want your child to know, like there were certain stories they would have the kids read, and I would just be like, this is a waste of time to read this story. Like they could be reading something that's really actually helpful. They could be reading The Secret. They could be reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's other things, Think and Grow Rich. There's a lot of other books that they can read with this time that is actually useful versus reading a fiction story, which I understand fiction has its place. But in these early stages, for me, I feel it's important to be programming the child with things that are very useful for them. So I'm like, we could be reading something else. Also, from a history standpoint of view, I can only speak from who I am, but it was just a lot of one-sided history, I'll say. And a lot of what they focused on was like war and slavery, right? And when I looked at it, I have a problem for my son of him being introduced to his people as slaves. So they didn't start with who the history of the slaves were before it happened. So I would understand if they were going through the history of these people, but since it's American history, they starting from when we got here as product, and that's not how I like my son being introduced to things like that. There's a lot of stuff that was left out of their stories, obviously. And I mean, that's how it is. You can't tell a 100% full story in a few, months. So I totally, totally get it. But what I'm saying is, I realize, well, if I'm going to have them read some bullshit, why not have them read something that actually makes sense, but also something that's more useful for him? My son is not going to be a historian. I say that all the time. So I don't feel like he has to be crammed up with all of that so much. There's so many other things in history that we could learn about. History of how people reacted the first time that they started seeing tornadoes. What made us start preparing for tornadoes differently? I don't personally believe in Black History Month. I think that there should be a World History Month or week where we learn about different parts of the world and different people's cultures for a month and week or a week. I feel Black history is somewhat of it's an exclusion month. So if I was Chinese, I really wouldn't care about having to read about Black. Like, why am I forced to read about Black history? Like, why do I have to read about this? What about my culture? What about this Indian guy's culture? Why are we forced to hear about him and these guys in America? Like, that's it. Like, so for me, I felt like we should be opening up the history a whole lot more. So that's the things that I'm trying to implement with my son is like, okay, well, we're going to go through and have times where we just learn about different places and the history of these places. So now you have a better understanding of your fellow man and woman that's standing next to you, right? So, I didn't care for it from that standpoint of view. A lot of the tutorials for, like, say, math and things of that sort, they were outdated. They were just old. They would have you look at old videos, and there's so many new techniques and new descriptions and new videos that teach a child how to do certain things in math. And so I felt like those things needed to be updated. So we would watch that and, like, watch one of the videos that they have for us, and my son and I would look at each other. I'd be like, and I would go on YouTube and find another dude, Mr. J or something like that, and have his explanations for it. So, from that standpoint of view, I felt that it could have had its improvements. But it's not a knock to the school. Like, to me, anywhere you go, you're going to think what you would personally change, right? Doesn't mean that the people who are doing it is wrong. It just means that maybe that's not 100% working for you. And so there's a lot of other things that I want my son to know about from even with math. There's certain things in math where I'm like, well, why are we going this far to this, but we haven't talked about debt. We haven't talked about dividends. We haven't talked about just the stock industry or real estate and how these numbers work. So I'm also focusing on those type of things with him as well. So I think Method is a really dope school. There's nothing wrong with the school. It's just I would have wanted to take that time and do something a little bit different with what's happening. But if you're contemplating getting in there, if you're like, well, I'm not going to make my child's curriculum, if that's not what you're going to do, then I would definitely say give Methods a try, because they have a really good thing going there. And all the teachers that I've met, excuse me, let me get some water. Or as a teacher, let me have some H2O. But all the teachers that I've met at the school were awesome people. So I definitely can say that they all have really good personalities, because we would meet them at, like, beach cleanups and things like that. So the people there were very awesome, man. So if you're looking for a school to put your child into, I definitely say mess with that one, because they got a solid program. They know what they're doing, And I think if there's things that you want to add into the program, you can do that. You can't, it's not like you can only teach them this one certain thing. And there's certain things when it came to reading, we were like, hey, can we substitute the reading with this for, another book? And they're like, yeah, totally. It's cool. So, you can implement your stuff in there if that's what you want to do. Just for me, I felt if I'm going to implement, I might as well just create it. So that was just where I'm at. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Definitely, if you guys have any experience with methods or you guys know some other schools that you guys think are cool, share them with the community, put them in the comments. You feel me? So, man, I appreciate y'all being here. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the bell. This is MF Homeschooling with Mink. I'm out. Y'all be good. Peace.